Hey there, everybody. This is Mike Goldstein with Kitchen Remodeling SEO, and I'm so happy that you're all able to join me here today on YouTube, on Facebook, on Zoom, whatnot for our webinar. This is going to be our most recent workshop on AEO and why it is the new SEO. Really, what does it all mean for kitchen remodeling companies, for bathroom remodelers, for cabinetry companies, for cabinet stores, and the like? Why is and what is this new thing called AEO? How is AI affecting the way that you get found on Google and really a whole lot of other platforms? So what we're going to do today is we're really going to cover this just paradigm shift in digital marketing, this paradigm shift really in our culture in terms of what is AEO? Why is it different from SEO? What is AEO, frankly? We're going to talk about how consumer search behavior is really changing. It's evolving in terms of people looking for answers rather than people looking for keywords. Going to talk a little bit about the impact of AEO on business. We're going to talk about how, specifically it impacts local businesses like remodeling companies, like people in the home services space in general. And also going to talk about some of the key strategies to optimize your website, your Google profile, and really just your online presence in general for AEO. So with that said, why should you listen to this? Why should you listen to me? These are great questions. Who the heck am I? You might be asking. Well, my name again is Mike Goldstein. I'm the founder of Kitchen Remodeling SEO. It's a digital marketing agency that works exclusively with people in the kitchen and bath remodeling industry and kitchen and bath accessory type of services like cabinetry, countertops, stone fabricators, and the like. I have been in the digital marketing space since 1999, really longer than Google's been in existence. I'm also the author of the book, The Kitchen Remodeler's Guide to Local SEO and Google Maps, as well as a soon-to-be released book on AI within the kitchen remodeling space. I have spoken at a number of industry events, including the very well-attended KBIS conference out in Vegas the last few years, which is a combination of the National Kitchen and Bath Association, the National Home Remodelers Association, National Builders, and all of that. They come together. I'm also, and myself, along with people on my team, we are Google partners, we're high-level partners, and the like. But enough about all that. Let's kind of talk really about why you're here, which is what is AEO and why does it matter? So AEO is a little different than SEO. SEO being search engine optimization. AEO is not about search, but it's about providing answers. It stands for answer engine optimization. And essentially, consumers are using voice search now more than ever. They're not, before when we were limited to back when I started Yahoo and excite.com, I'm probably dating myself a little bit here, right? And then eventually Google. And what you would do is you would type in, kitchen remodeler near me, or you would type in cabinet store, or you might type in something, very, very short phrases. Now everybody's got, that cell phone. Everybody's got Siri. Everybody's got Alexa in the background, and they're asking these questions constantly. And now even on our phones, we've got ChatGPT, we've got Gemini, we've got Perplexity. We have all of these different platforms where we can ask full-blown thoughts. We can have actual conversations with the AI assistant, and homeowners and especially are getting more and more comfortable talking to an AI assistant. So that's really it's a big deal now when you can do that. And before, like I said, people were searching for these short snippets. Well, now Google is favoring these long answers or these answers to very specific things. So, for example, are shaker cabinets going out of style in Glendale, California? Somebody might want to ask that. And what you see on the screen right here is Google's AI response to that. It's the answer. It's no, shaker cabinets aren't going out of style in Glendale, and this is why. Or where people are, Google's really favoring, I should say, something called zero-click searches. So what is zero-click? It means that Google wants to provide instant gratification. It wants to provide an answer without you having to click and go to a website and then scroll through the landing page, scroll through the blog post and find what it is that you're looking for. Google wants to pull that piece right out of it. So when we're talking snippets, we're talking like those featured answer boxes. We're talking zero click. It's those featured, it's those featured answer boxes. It's the immediate kind of, you can actually see Google starting to type out the answer in front of you. And honestly, that's the same thing with any AI search with ChatGPT. It's all, it's not about sending you to a website. It's about just giving you what you want, answering your question right then and there. So businesses that answer questions effectively are getting more visibility now because before you could be in position 10, you could be in position 15 on Google. You might be on page 2, you might be on page 3. And as a business owner, I could see, okay, I'm there for this keyword. I just need to optimize a little bit more and move my way up. But here's the deal. AI results, you don't have that. When you ask a question and Google gives an answer or ChatGPT gives an answer, and you might ask a question like, who's the best kitchen remodeling company in Danville, California? And it's going to give you the name of 2 or 3 companies, and that's it. There is no queue. There's no let's move up in the rankings. It's one. You're either there or you're not. Very similar to the way that Google has adopted the Google business profile, the Google map results. Used to be, when I started doing this, that there would be 7, 8, 9 results in those maps back when Yahoo Maps was even doing it, right? Now it's limited to only 3. It's why they call it the local 3-pack. And Google is shifting that now into the AI results. People are just, business that get seen are going to get known more, and that's going to generate more leads because now the only way that you're really going to be able to generate those leads is if you're in those initial answers. So let's talk a little bit about how search behavior has changed. Like kind of like I said before, like people used to just ask the simple question, like cabin installer near me, not even cabin installer, in Miami, Florida, but cabin installs near me, and that's it. And you get a map result. And don't get me wrong, there are still a whole lot of people who will search that way. And that is important. That's why you still need to optimize your Google profile. That's why you still need to get your reviews and you still need to do your Google business posts and you still need to run your press releases and embed your maps and all of that stuff. But the way that people are starting to search more and more is in full blown out thoughts and they're asking very specific questions. It's not so ambiguous. It's just whatever the service near me is. So maybe it's going to be what's the best cabinet for an outdoor kitchen, or are white shaker cabinets trending in Tampa, Florida? Whatever it might be. And that's going to generate some sort of a featured snippet, or it's going to generate some sort of actual immediate answer. And honestly, more times than not, we're not even seeing the citation from where it's coming from until the very bottom of it. So if you don't have a good answer there, then you may not even be getting credit for it. And that's why it's so important to do everything right technically. It's important to really make sure that you're kind of in line with what Google is looking for. So this is kind of where we kind of get into AEO is very different from SEO. They both drive SERP results, search engine result page, but they do it in a very different way. And it's a very different type of search. So if you think about traditional SEO, it's focused on ranking web pages using very short keyword phrases, and you're optimizing for Google. And by optimizing for Google, that means you're optimizing for Bing. It means you're optimizing for Yahoo, right? Because that Bing and Yahoo are going to do whatever Google wants. So we're talking about, well, let's make sure we have the title tags, make sure we have our internal linking correct, make sure we have the links using very specific anchor text. So let's say, if I'm a stone fabricator in Seattle, Washington, I want to make sure that I get other websites using the term Seattle stone fabricator, and that links back to my page. AEO is very different from that. We're not focused on those short keywords, those very ambiguous terms. Rather, we're focused on delivering instant and accurate answers. Like I said before, you're going to ask a question, and whatever that virtual assistant is, it's going to give you an answer and it's going to give it to you right away. It's not going to give you a list of 5 people who placed ads about that keyword and then a map with 3 or 4 people optimize their maps and then 10 more search results and then you're going to click through and go to a page and try and find it. No, no. What happens now is that AEO allows us to get that instant gratification. So you need to optimize your web pages for AEO. It means that we need to really think about creating content that answers in a very concise way, no fluff, get right to the answer and answer questions. This is where blogs really shine. This is where using um, schema code really helps you because you can give the answers right away. So the business impact of GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, AEO, Answer Engine Optimization, is just massive now. You can, first of all, you want to own that position zero. You want to be the number one result, but not just that. You don't want to just be a result that someone then goes to your website and fills out a form, all the way down. You want to give an answer right away. And honestly, you may not get a click over to your website. But what's going to happen is it becomes more of a brand awareness. It's almost like, we're going back in time to when TV commercials were driving. And let's take a step away from the kitchen remodeling and the cabinetry business. Let's think back into the 1980s, right? Let's think about all those lawyers who were on TV. Have you been hurt? We don't get paid unless we get you results. And then all that stuff that those personal injury lawyers would say. Well, there's nothing to click on the TV back in the 80s. What it was is, but if you want to know more about it, this is who we are, contact us. And that's kind of how AEO is working. And that is unfortunately what is driving leads these days. It's the brand awareness more than anything else. So if you have that position zero, you're going to be able to get leads much, much quicker because people are going to then search and maybe it's not going to be an AEO. Now it's going to be an SEO issue for your brand. Or they're going to see the result. And then maybe if they're really interested in what you had to say in that result, now they click through to your site. Because what happens is you have become the trusted local expert. You have provided the answer that is in their area, that's about their question. You clearly know what you're talking about. So because of that, people are going to want to come to you for the next step. So GEO strategies for kitchen remodeling cabinetry businesses are, like I said, they're very different from SEO strategies. You want to optimize for your featured snippet by answering the question. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create blog content around a specific question. In this case, maybe how much do quartz countertops cost? Now, how do I find out what those answers are? So the first thing is I need to know what the heck it is that I'm optimizing for. So one place I always tell people to do is go to Answer the Public. Another website you might want to check out is Also Asked. These are websites that literally comb through the Google People Also Ask answers and questions, and they find out what are the most frequent questions that people are asking as relates to a particular topic. So I get all that, and now I've got a list of, let's say, 35 different questions. And now I can use my AI skills, my prompt skills, and my prompt engineering to use ChatGPT and use Claude and write a really good response. Don't just take that and paste it in because Google actually doesn't like AI result or AI written content, even though it's using AI to score it. But get the basics, and now you're going to rewrite it in your own voice, in a human tone. And we're going to start looking at how do we organize the content? How are we creating a section heading at the top with the question? Then we're going to give a short answer, no fluff, maybe 1-2 paragraphs at the most. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add some what's called FAQ schema into your code. Now, Google's going to tell you, whoa, FAQ schema doesn't help you get into the people also ask section anymore. True. But what it does is it helps define what the question is, what the answer is. It brings it to the top so that it makes it much easier. So again, this is really, really important with blog content. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create an FAQ page on our website. And we're going to create a list of questions topically organized, and then each of those questions is going to have an internal link to the blog post that answers them. So you can give a short answer in the FAQ. Our for example, do soft close hinges, prevent damaging my cabinets for longer periods of time? And maybe your answer is going to be, yes, soft close hinges actually prevent doors from slamming, which extends the life of the cabinet. And then what I might do is I would take my term soft close hinges, hyperlink that to the blog article all about that same question, which maybe is a 1,500 word blog on that topic, and you talk about all the different aspects of why soft close hinges prevent damage and what a soft close hinge is at the end of it. But you don't start before you would start with what is a soft close hinge. Now, no, we start with the answer right away. Soft close hinges will prevent damage to kitchen cabinets by extending the life where they don't slam and create, large noises and then whatnot. And then you go into what really a soft close hinge is and why it does this is, and then you go through all of that. So you've done this, you have now created that connection between the FAQ page, which lists out all the questions, link over to the page that's just the question and answer, and you become very topically relevant. Now, the thing that you also got to remember is you want to answer it and you want to ask the question, you want to phrase the question in a way that people speak. You don't want to do it just because, or you don't want to do it based on a search you did on SEMrush or Ahrefs for keyword volume, right? Because the way that Google might give you some suggestions, the way that these SEO tools give you suggestions could be something very different. You think about having a conversation with your AI assistant, and that's how you want to phrase your question, and that's also how you want to phrase your answer. And if you think about it, like, if you were at a cocktail party and somebody asks you a question, how would you answer that question? Would you preface it with, and talk to them for 5 minutes before you ever answered it about something that's just slightly related to it, but kind of promotes you? No, you wouldn't. You would just answer the darn question. Also, adding schema is a huge piece. So if I'm going to trying to market a product, so a cabinet, for example, I want to use product schema. And in that product schema, I can set forth all the different elements of that product. That's going to help give more content to the search result. That's what shows up there. But that also tells the AI system more about what your product is. It gives it an image because AI can show images. It's going to give it a price. It's going to give it reviews. And you use your review schema for that. And with the schema, we're talking a lot about schema. All it is it's like a meta tag on steroids. So it's really just a piece of coding. And what you want to do is you go over to schema.org and you can look at all the different types of schema. And then honestly, let's talk AI. Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, I want you to act like a website programmer. Today, I'm going to create a web page about shaker cabinets. I need you to review the schema.org structure for product schema and write me the schema that I need for my white shaker cabinet page. Provide it to me in a markdown format that I can then incorporate. And please tell me where to put it on my website. And now you've got AI helping you to help it spit the result back. Now, another thing that people really don't think about is chatbots. You want to leverage these chatbots more so than ever before. Because again, if the chatbot has sections in it that are specific to questions that are very common, then as Google starts crawling your site and it sees a chatbot that's specific to a particular topic, you become more topically authoritative to Google because of it, but also it will start to kind of go through your chatbot, through your menu, and it'll see those questions. And again, the answers that are there become the default that Google's going to demonstrate. So we've talked kind of about where we are today. We've talked about what you need to do right now to get found in the search results, in the AI results. Let's talk a little bit about where we're going with this. What's going to happen? I mean, just think about over the last 8 months, how the landscape of search and AI has changed. In 8 months, where the heck are we going to be in 8 years, let alone in 1 year? So I think that one of the things you want to consider is that more searches are going to be conducted via voice assistant than ever before. People are, I mean, they're not typing anymore, right? They're talking to their phone, they're talking to their iPad, we're getting to the point where your laptop, you're going to be able to start talking to that. Oftentimes you just press a button, you press that little speaker button on the screen and you can talk to it. So AI is going to play a much greater role in determining those search results. It's going to be much more about answering specific questions. And this is where long tail keyword terms and all that come into play than ever before. And the business who adopts early is going to get more and more of those featured snippets. They're going to dominate their market because going back to where we started with, you need to become the trusted source of information for a particular question. And if you are, you're more likely to generate the lead from there. So let's talk a little about what exactly it is that we covered here today. And I know this is a very short webinar here. It's really just to kind of open up your eyes and to get you thinking about how do I shift. I know I'm working with a marketing agency who's all SEO first. Hell, we come from an agency, kitchen remodeling SEO. It's in our name, right? But you've got to shift to AEO. And what does that shift look like? We talked a little bit about how consumer search behavior is evolving. Voice AI is becoming more and more important. That's why voice agents even are becoming important. You're going to be getting on the phone with AI agents more and more. You're going to call, I mean, there's going to be a point where you're going to call the doctor, you're going to call the lawyer, and you're going to ask them a question, and it's not going to be them. It's going to be an AI, and it's going to query the ChatGPT or the Perplexity or the Claude database or the Google AI database. So you need to get really comfortable with answering in voice-like ways. We talked about why answer engine optimization is crucial for local visibility and for lead generation, and kind of hit on some of those key strategies to optimize your kitchen remodeling or your cabinetry business, answering the questions, going to ask the public, creating the FAQs, linking to the blogs, and exhausting all the potential questions for a particular topic so you become the most topically authoritative. So at this point, I just want to open it up to any questions. So anybody who hears here on Facebook, is here on YouTube, in the Zoom chat with me here, just type in your question, and I'd be happy to kind of take a look at those, and we'll go from there. All right, let's see. Okay, I have a couple coming in here. Okay, Rachel is asking, what is the best AI tool to write your answers with? So, Rachel, that's a great question. And I want to take a step back. Google has recently announced, and this not shockingly, that it does not love AI written content. Now, if you do a really good job of prompting, it might be difficult for it to tell. But what I would say is no tool should be a copy and paste job. Anytime that you're using any of these AI writers, you really want to kind of rewrite it in your own voice. You want to make sure that it sounds like it's coming from you. If you read it and say, that doesn't sound like me, don't put it down there. All right. But with that said, I really like ChatGPT. There's a free version of it. Honestly, for $20 a month, you get the pro version, and it gives you some really, really strong answers. It does a lot of research for you. Before that, though, I actually like to go to Perplexity and ask it a question. It will crawl the internet. It will find the answers to my questions. It will cite the websites, which again is why answer engine optimization is so important. I take those answers and then I paste them into my prompt in ChatGPT and I have that write it. Another option, another tool that's really great is something called Jasper. Jasper is a fantastic tool and it will leverage actually a number of different LLMs, number of different language models to answer with. So that's kind of how I would do that. Let's see here. So another question here from Jim is, oh, this is actually a really good one, is can voice agents actually provide only your answers? So yes. So here's the thing, Jim. You can create what's called a custom GPT, and literally it only knows the information that you feed it. So you can take all the content that you've written, all the articles that you have. You can take interviews, all your recorded phone calls, upload all of that into it, and that is the knowledge base that would be used. Now, with that said, what we've talked about in this webinar is not so much about using AI specifically for your business, but rather how do you get found by these AI agents? And I will tell you that most of those voice agents are going to probably draw from the ChatGPT general database or the Google General database. All right. I don't see any other questions, but if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me afterwards. Just want to take a minute to talk about our next workshop, which is going to happen on May 21st, Wednesday, May 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, we're actually going to get into some of the answers to actually some of the questions that were just asked to me is how do we leverage marketing automation to triple our conversions? How do we use AI to actually automate tasks to make it that much better. So I hope you sign up for that. Um, let's talk about some free stuff here because you guys stayed till the end. And I told you right in the beginning when we were talking about who I am, what I've done. So I actually have written a book, The Kitchen Remodeler's Guide to Local SEO and Google Maps. If you would like a copy of this book, which by the way is available for purchase on Amazon for $14.95. However, anybody who is watching this webinar or even watching the replay, I'm offering you the PDF of this completely free. All you got to do is scan the QR code here. This QR code is not going to send you to a sign up page. It's just not going to prompt you to give me more information. It is a QR code that will go right to the PDF. It'll open it up immediately. No strings attached. This is my gift to you for sticking around, for listening to what I have to say. Hopefully I taught you something. Hopefully I've given you some information that you can take back and use in your business. You can also just go to kitchenremodelingseo.com/ebook. And again, that is not going to prompt you for any login or anything like that. It's just going to open the PDF, excuse me, up right away for you. Um, so if you found this useful, if you happen to be on YouTube or if not, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. At Kitchen Remodeling SEO, where we have this webinar. You'll see all of our past webinars. You're going to be able to see all of the podcast episodes from the Crushing with Kitchen Remodeling podcast. Lots of great information. Hopefully you find that as a good resource. So I just want to thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for tuning in to the webinar on AEO search and what it is. If you want to find me online or find the company online, we are all over social. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, like I said. Certainly check us out. Check us out online, kitchenremodelingseo.com. And honestly, if you have a question about this, like I said, you certainly can always send me a message on any of our social platforms. But honestly, this is my phone number. This is my personal cell phone right here. It's 339-645-9461. Give me a call anytime. I'd love to talk to people. So again, my name is Mike Goldstein. I am the founder of Kitchen Remodeling SEO. I thank you for tuning in. I hope you learned something,